अनन्तं विभुं निर्विकल्पं निरीहं शिवं सङ्गहीनं यदोङ्कारगम्यं निराकारमत्युज्ज्वलं मृत्युहीनं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि। कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्योः समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते ihaiva tairijitah sargo. No, sorry, up to this only, these two, 2.48 and 2.47. Now here this again, this 2.47 is widely misunderstood. Here it is karmani eva adhikaraha te. In Sanskrit, adhikara has a great meaning. In all the shastras, in the beginning we have something called adhikara tattva. Adhikara means fitness, deservingness. When any pursuit or any vidya is given, it is given to a fit person, otherwise it will get distorted. Suppose we have very powerful bomb, say nuclear bomb. If it is given to a reckless person, then what will happen to the world? So it has to be properly protected. Suppose a child, suppose a small child, you will not allow him to go anywhere near the gas burner because it will cause accident. He is not fit to go in front of the gas burner. Even in Mahabharata you will find that the Brahmastra was given to very few people who had enough of mental control, enough of control of their behavior, etc., to have the fitness. Even Dronacharya did not give the Brahmastra to his own son Ashwathama because he did not have faith in Ashwathama's control, and that was proved also later on. So anything that is given, there is a fitness. So I think you remember yesterday that we said that it's a twofold path. For the Jnanadhikaris, it is exclusive Jnana Nishtha, and for others, the yogis, it is the Karma Yoga. That was the statement. He is telling Arjuna that, Arjuna, you have meditated on this war for 14 years, and you are a Kshatriya, you are an administrator. Suddenly coming into the war field, you are saying that I will take up sannyasa. I will go to the forest, I will beg and live, I will not fight this war. It cannot happen because you are not fit for Kevala Jnana Nishtha. Kevala Jnana Nishtha means exclusive knowledge pursuit, which means contemplation, meditation, rumination, etc. A person who has been for 14 years constantly meditating on a war, how can he suddenly go for a meditative, contemplative life where there is no action at all? So he was not fit for exclusive knowledge pursuit. That is why Krishna is saying karmani eva, that your adhikara, your fitness is only in karma. Karma means karma has to be converted into yoga, that he will give. But you cannot leave karma, the usual actions you are given to, and suddenly go for meditation. You see, everybody starts doing meditation thinking that will take them to spirituality, but very few people are really fit for meditation. We don't understand. Most of the seekers, they report that whenever we sit for meditation, all the thoughts, they come in and mind runs here and there. It will, because throughout the day, if the mind runs everywhere, unnecessarily, not always necessarily, unnecessarily also, blaming people, thinking critically of people, or looking for having unfair greed, which will not be satisfied. Our mind is given to all these things throughout the day. If you sit for meditation, suddenly in the evening, will the mind keep quiet? All the thoughts you have been hosting throughout the day, they will come more because during the meditation you are free. You are not you are not engaged in any other activity. So they will start running to you. They will say that throughout the day you have been inviting us. How can you say no now? Now is the time I should come. We should come because you are free now. So they will all invade you at that time. So mostly people are not fit for such meditation. Meditation needs a certain preparation of the mind, a certain purity of the mind. Otherwise, meditation cannot be done. And here he is speaking about the exclusive meditative and contemplative lives, Kevala Jnana Nishtha, where they will not be engaged in any other work at all. So naturally, it is very few, rare few are fit for such exclusive knowledge pursuit. But Krishna says it does not matter because the Karma Yoga also will lead you to the same goal. And Karma Yoga is not just doing karma, but you have to understand it is also a knowledge pursuit. But it is a knowledge pursuit when you are active. That every moment, whatever you do, you have to convert your activity, transform the orientation, your attitude, transform your attitude with which you are working, so that your all activities become yoga. Then you don't have to sit for meditation that way. You may sit for some time only, but that is not the main pursuit for you. So after a period of cleansing the mind, when the mind becomes free of desires, automatically the mind will settle and you will get the same benefit as it is done by the Kevala Jnana Nishtha, as it is had through Kevala Jnana Nishtha. So he says here very clearly that you are not fit to take to exclusive knowledge pursuit. You are fit for karma. But ma phaleshu kadachana, this is also widely misinterpreted. Ma phaleshu means that generally it is understood often that you don't have any right for the fruit of it. It is not so. Suppose you are coming to the Kala Mandapam, you start walking. Every moment you walking or driving, you drive towards Kala Mandapam. Are you not reaching nearer and nearer to Kala Mandapam? Finally you are reaching. After reaching, that reaching is the fruit of the action you had undertaken. After reaching, can you say that no, I don't want the fruit? Can you? Yesterday also I explained it. In any action, the external fruit means the effect, cause and effect. The whole world is related by cause and effect. Any external action, any action, automatically will follow the causality and the fruit will be had. Whatever you think of. Without the fruit, how can it be there? No action can be done. Suppose you are putting up a factory, the aim of the factory will be in your mind. Fully, you have to be concerned about it. You cannot say that, no, I don't want the result of it. I only want to put up the factory. It is foolish. Misunderstandings are widely prevalent. So, it is ma phaleshu means in phala. That means ma phaleshu sangaha astu. You should not cling to the phala. And what is the phala? Bhagavad Gita clearly has defined, 18th chapter, I said the other day also. It is talking about the internal phala. That is, yesterday I explained that whatever we are doing, the ultimate phala is we will become happy by doing that. Is it not? Whatever we are doing, by that we will get money, with the money I will have this, I will have that, and finally what will happen? We will become happy, I will become happy. Even if those who are sacrificing their life also, by that they will become happy. It is for happiness, whatever we are doing, it is for the gaining happiness. So our clinging, our sangha is to that final carrot of happiness, which never happens. Say, you may be happy for a while, but later on, again the unhappiness takes over. That fulfillment, it comes only when what for you are working, that comes immediately. For a moment it will be there. After that it will not be there. So it is like a carrot that I will become happy, I will become happy. That carrot is making us move. It is a desire motivated action we are given to. So he says that don't ma karma phala hetur bhuhu. You don't work only to thinking that after the successful completion of the work, I will become happy. That is not the right mindset. Yesterday also I said that when that is left, then actually we work from joy, out of joy, not for joy. I will explain further that. Mate sangostu akarmani. And at the same time, you should not think that because I am not interested in the ultimate phala, I will not work. That also people say that if nishkama karma means I am not interested, the phala has to be rejected, then why should we work? They will not work. So akarma is never advocated. Akarma means not doing any action, becoming idle. Because it is through action only all the activities have to be transformed in a manner that they become instrument for reaching the goal, as I said. And it is not only the external action, the transformation has to come to our mental action, thoughts also. The thoughts also have to be transformed so that each thought is oriented towards this expansion, universality, free of greed, desires, etc. Now, yesterday I had said, but a little more I will say, that it is a wrong idea that we get joy out of when the result is had. By getting the result, when the desire is fulfilled, we get joy. Truly speaking, the desire is a hindrance to the joy. It is not giving us the joy. What happens, yesterday also I said, that desire for happiness and the anxiety, fear, worry with the thought that I may not have that happiness, may not have the success. That means if the success is not had, then I will not have the happiness. Suppose an exam student, he always gets worried and cannot even read properly to appear for the exam, thinking that I may not be having a good rank or I may fail. That thought, anxiety, fear, that does not allow him to study properly. So finally, he ends up doing a lesser performance. Now, what happens is that when a desire is fulfilled, you immediately get a happiness. And as I said yesterday, when the desire is very intense, then the happiness also is correspondingly intense and a little longer living. What happens is when the desire is fulfilled, the desire is no more there. Is it not so? It has fulfilled, so desire is no more there. Till another desire comes and occupies your mind. So desire is fulfillment, desire is eliminated. We get the joy not out of fulfillment of the desire, but because the fulfillment is eliminating the desire, we get the joy. The desire, joy we are getting is because of the elimination of the desire. Because the moment the desire is fulfilled, it is eliminated, the mind becomes reasonably calm for a while, till another desire comes and takes over the mind. Do you agree to that? So if it is so, then elimination can take place right in the beginning. You eliminate the desire and you will become happy. If you eliminate the desire right in the beginning, then you will become happy. And becoming happy, you will do whatever to be done, whatever will come, you will do joyously, and the performance will be the best. That is why they have said, yogaha karmasu kaushalam. The dexterity of doing anything is the yoga sthiti, is this Bhagavad Gita yoga. The joy is always born of us, it is not outside. Suppose you have gone for the first time in front of a sea, beach, you have gone. Suddenly seeing the vastness of the sea, you become so joyous. Is it not so? Or any other scenery also you can think. Suddenly a news comes that you have lost your job or you have lost somebody very close to you. Where has the joy gone? Will you not immediately collapse? The mind will collapse. Is it not so? Where has the joy gone? If the joy was in the sea or in the scenery, it is still there in front of you. But the mind is no longer able to produce the joy seeing the scenery, because the mind has been now occupied by a thought of you're losing the job or some other calamity or losing somebody. Is it not? So it is the mind which is producing the joy. This we must understand. And does it not need buddhi? That is why Krishna said that this yoga is based on buddhi. You are performing the action, but to understand what is happening, it needs subtle buddhi. It needs a comprehensive buddhi. Now, the same thing, if you understand those who have been successfully meditating, you will understand what happens when a person does meditation successfully. Then suddenly he finds that the whole being is flooded with joy. The outcome of meditation is bliss. This is the first discovery of our rishis. When they found that the joy cannot be permanent, joy cannot be had from outside, they started looking inside, within. Before they discovered their real self, real identity, they suddenly got flooded with joy. They discovered that the joy comes from within. It is a natural parameter of our inmost being, of our soul. We don't have to get joy from outside. So when we meditate and get joy, by the calmness we reach, the peace we reach in meditation, when the mind becomes free of worldly thoughts, we find that the mind gets full of joy. So what desire has been fulfilled there? You have forgotten the world which is full of desires and distractions, fear, anxiety, desire. When all these are forgotten, then the mind becomes most blissful. The more it is free, the more it is blissful. So we don't analyze this event properly. Those who are meditating also, if you get a bliss, next day you want to have that bliss again, but you never analyze why I got the bliss. You did not get the bliss out of anything worldly. When the world was forgotten, your mind got flooded with bliss. So is it not a natural parameter of the mind? Or you can say the soul or the inmost being. It is by nature, it is blissful. But that bliss remains covered because of the distractions of the mind, agitations of the mind. It is like if there is a pond, there are waves. Can you see the bottom? Disturbed waves will not allow you to see the bottom. If the waves are pacified, if it is silent, then you can see the bottom, provided the water is more or less clear. The clearer the water, the vision also is better. If it is muddy, then you will not have a clear vision. So even in a peaceful mind also, as the mind becomes purer and purer, you get a purer vision of the soul, which is by its nature blissful. So we understand that the joy is within, and by desires we are actually distracting the mind. That is why we are not able to feel the joy. If we are free of the desires, then we will be always joyful, and whatever comes, we will do. What we will do? We will do according to our capacity, according to the need of the society, need of the circumstances. Whatever to be done, we will do. Desire is not a motivation at all. But you can say, those who are young and all, that we have certain desire. How can we be desire free? Okay, that is also accepted. Our Shastras have dharma, artha, kama, moksha. 4 purusharthas, 4 aims of life. Their kama is there. Kama means desire. They have not eliminated. They have said kama is also a rightful desires to be fulfilled. Now the difference is that we are trying to fulfill the kama ignorantly. There a little wisdom has to be added. What is that? You should analyze the world and think that, well, I will fulfill the desire, but let me not be deluded that that fulfillment will be permanent and I will be ever happy after that. Suppose a boy is fond of a girl and he wants to marry the girl. He thinks that by marrying I will become fulfilled. That is fine, he may think, but he should also at the same time understand that after marriage there will be a lot of trouble, lot of quarrel, everything will be there, difference of opinion will be there. And we have to sort out that. It is not all pink. Happiness will be there for only a few days perhaps. Thereafter it will be a mixture of everything. So you have to understand that the permanent happiness does not lie there. In riches also, you may think that I need money, I want to become rich, I want to live in comfort, but know that that comfort is not going to fulfill you. You have money, doesn't matter. You work for money, you have money, you have whatever comfort you need. But knowing that it is not going to fulfill me forever, this knowledge is extremely important, which our present generations, not present for hundreds of years, we have forgotten, which was there in our education itself, right in the brahmacharya period, in the education in the Gurukula, this knowledge they used to get. So those who would like to get married and have their desires fulfilled, they used to go for that after Gurukula. And those who would become wise, they would not go, they will take to the spiritual pursuit. That was the rule. But those who are going for the worldly life also, they used to know that there is something beyond which will give us the fulfillment, not the worldly life. There is something beyond which will give us fulfillment. That is why the kings could leave their throne, leave their kingdom by the age of 50 or so, maximum 60. Dhritarashtra could not leave, so Vidura forced him to leave. But a good king, a wise king, used to leave by 45, 50, 55 years of age. I think the rule was by 50 or so, retirement. So, how could they leave so easily? But the one point was that putting up a proper inheritor, that establishing, preparing, grooming a proper prince to become the king. If his sons were not available, somebody else will be brought and he would be groomed. He will be given the kingdom and the king will walk for Vanaprastha or Sannyasa. This was the practice. They could easily do it because always it was there in their mind that there is something beyond which will, for fulfillment of life, there is something beyond. It is not nothing of this. Na vittena tarpaniyo manushyo. In Kathopanishad, 7-year-old Nachiketa is telling Yamaraja that nothing of the world can ever fulfill or satisfy a human being. Nachiketa is telling Yamaraja. So, this is the idea of the yoga buddhi, that we should understand that we are thinking that we will become happy by doing something. It is not so. We may give some temporary happiness, that is fine, for that we can do, but with the knowledge that there is something beyond. If we do, then we will not get caught by whatever we are doing. The Sangha will not be there. We will not cling to the kingdom. We will not cling to the throne. We will not cling to the grandchildren. Very important for you. Leave the grandchildren, the responsibility of them on your children. No, it's not meant for you. You can sometimes visit and have the joy of it, that's all. Looking after is the next generation's job. Now all have become babysitters. They will go to USA and all will go for work and the grandparents will look after the grandchildren. If you are happy with that, it is fine. But in our Shastra, it is said that the grandchildren are more powerful than the children. More powerful in the sense of clinging, that you will not be able to come out of it. For your children, you can come out of the clinging. For grandchildren, you will not be able to easily come out of it. So, this is what he suggested. Then the shlokas of Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. This we have done in detail. You go up. This is the page. We want 5.19 and the next one. Now this, keep with the title. Now this samatva we discussed yesterday, that how to attain that samatva. This samatva, does it mean that everything will be same? That there won't be any difference between good and bad? There won't be any difference between what we like and what we dislike? It is not like that. Samatva is not that. Truly speaking, when we cling to what we like and when we hate what we dislike, then it is against samatva. That means samatva means free of raga-dvesha. This we should understand very well. The whole Bhagavad Gita is based on how to make our mind free of raga-dvesha. Mind, intelligence, emotion, everything. That what is raga? When we cling to what we like, then it becomes raga. And when we cling to what we dislike, then it becomes dvesha, or which means hatred. The trouble lies in having raga-dvesha. Likes and dislikes always will be there. Suppose anything good, a good person will like good. Suppose in the ashram, if the sadhakas, if the seekers are all very bad, they are always quarreling with each other, they have bad qualities, etc. Will Swamiji like it? Definitely not. Any pure person, any good person will we not like. There is nothing wrong in it. But if we cling to that, suppose the sadhakas are not able to become good, if the saint starts hating them, then that is bad. The sadhakas have come to get transformed. So naturally they will have various good qualities and bad qualities. The only condition for staying in an ashram is that they want to become good, they want to get rid of all the troubles. If that wanting is there, that makes them fit for staying in the ashram. If they don't want it, then naturally they don't deserve to stay in the ashram. But so Swamiji will ask them to leave. But it is not out of hatred. Are you able to understand? It is out of the harmony of the. Suppose the people are staying in the ashram who do not want the spiritual transformation, then what is the purpose of the ashram? The purpose of the ashram will be defeated. So naturally he will ask them to go, ask him to go. But it is not out of hatred and out of quarrel that he will send him away. Not out of that. So any raga means when suppose a very good brahmacharin has come from outside to the ashram, very pure looking brahmacharin. Will the ashramites not be very happy looking at it? Suppose you are not happy and you think that our brahmacharins are not so pure, but this brahmacharin is looking so pure, let him stay here. If you think in that manner, try to get him from the other ashram and thinking that our people are not good, this is better. That is the clinging to the good. That clinging is to be avoided. Raga means that. The moment something is, a flower is beautiful, you appreciate the flower, that is fine. It is a product of nature. It's a product of nature and you are appreciating the creation. But immediately if you put it on your hair, break it and put it on your hair to decorate yourself, it spoils the goodness of nature. That you are selfishly interested in whatever you are seeing. A beautiful woman is going. You should appreciate the beauty. If she is really beautiful, you should appreciate the beauty. But immediately if you think that if I can have as my wife, this is what we do. There comes the clinging, and if somebody is not good, then we want to get away from him. So the raga-dvesha actually is clinging to what we like and hating what we dislike. It is not simply likes and dislikes. Samatva does not mean that the whole world will become same. You will not like the good. You will like the criminals equal to the good. It's not like that. You may love everybody. You may love a criminal also. As far as love is concerned, it means an equal feeling for all, equal concern for all. That will be there. But that does not mean that you have to host a criminal at your home. This difference we should know very well, because this is the confusion we find everywhere, that Vedanta means everything is same. Why do you do this? Why do you prostrate before your guru? All those things are there. It is coming from this non-understanding of the real tattva, the truth. So, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on how to get rid of the raga-dvesha. In 2.64, would you like to chant? Raga-dvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaischaran Atmavashair vidheyatma prasadam. He is saying raga-dvesha viyuktaih tu vishayan indriyesh charan. A person who has got rid of the raga-dvesha, he can move around freely in the world, interacting with the world with his senses. Vishayan indriyesh charan. He is moving around in the world with interacting with it with his senses. Atmavashair vidhe atma. One who is freed of raga-dvesha, these are very important points. If you can understand, I will go into the diagrams also to clarify. If this is understood, everything will be understood. If a person is free of raga-dvesha, then he become atmavash. That means he is no longer slave to the worldly situation, worldly objects. Because of raga-dvesha, we become slave to the objects. The moment something is not to our liking, immediately we lose our self-centeredness. We become agitated. Is it not so? Even the food or the comfort or anything, somebody is abusing, somebody's behavior I do not like. Immediately we lose our self-centeredness. We are slave to the surroundings, slave to the objective situation. So we are vasha means we are vishaya vasha. We are serving, we are servile to the, we are slave to the worldly things. Whereas we have to become atmavash. Atmavash means we will be under the guidance of our inmost soul. You may say that I don't know what is my soul, how can I be under guidance? Well, you can find out certain things. The soul is one and uniform, it is common to all. There are certain qualities which everybody will like. Have you found a person who does not like love? Everybody likes to be loved, is it not so? Our problem is we want love from others. We don't want to love others, so we don't get love. But actually, if we can love everybody, then we will be fulfilled. We don't have to look for love from others. Because love is a quality, is a parameter which everybody would like. It is our soul parameter. But not knowing that, we always want love from outside. And we fail in that. But suppose you start loving everybody, you will be so happy. You don't depend on anybody loving you at all. You love everybody. That is what the saints do. So love is a parameter of the soul. Like that, expansion is a parameter of the soul. Whenever you are doing something, we are including other people also, you will find there is so much of joy in it. In a teamwork, when it is done properly, there is so much of joy in it. It is by expansion we get more joy than doing something selfishly for ourselves. When we distribute our wealth also, we share with others, we share our mind with others, we feel so joyous. What is this? It is all expansion. When we are sharing our thoughts with another person and we feel that the person is able to understand what we are sharing, then there will be a lot of joy. Yeah, I am speaking and you are listening. If I feel that you are understanding and my thoughts are going, I will be so much happy. But if I feel that it is not grasped, then I will not be that happy because the expansion is not taking place. So there are these qualities of expansion, love, etc., compassion. These are all our soul property. So they are the parameters of the soul. So when we are under the guidance of our Atma, our soul, then we will find that we are freed of all kinds of selfishness, all kinds of quarreling tendencies, blamingness, all this will be gone. So we will become Atmavash, we will be guided by the Atma. Vidheya Atma. It is not a control from outside. In spirituality, in real spirituality, we never speak of control, subdue. Because that is not a permanent, if you control now, sometimes it will come out with redoubled force. So we don't believe in control at all. Everything has to be sublimated by an understanding. From within, all the bad tendencies, the lower tendencies will get sublimated by understanding their cheapness. That they will take us away from the auspicious goal, that understanding will keep us away from any bad deed. So it is Vidheyatma is actually a guidance, a harmony working from within. It is not an outer control. Prasadam adhigacchati. He attains prasada. This is the great thing. Prasada means placidity. This is the gain, if you call gain, of a knower. That he minds. Yeah, we say joy, bliss, etc. It is not that he is always ecstatic or exuberant like that. Occasionally he might be, otherwise not. But his mind remains always in prasada. Whether it is a suffering or it is a case of comfort or happiness. In happiness he is not elated. In suffering he is not depressed. His mind remains in prasada, placid. A placid mind. This is what happens. When this samatva takes us to that prasada. How? By removing the raga-dvesha. The elimination of the raga-dvesha. Next one is 3.3. Now, to eliminate the raga-dvesha, what are we supposed to do? How we have to go about it? He says, Indriyasya indriyasyarthe raga-dvesho vyavasthitau tayorna vasham agachet tau hyasya paripanthinau. He says that the raga-dvesha will be there for the indriyas. The senses will, here the raga-dvesha is the likes and dislike. It will always be there for the senses. You will like certain things, you will dislike certain things. But what we have to do is tayohna vasham agachet. We should not be under their slavery. That is, we should not cling to them. We should not be under their slavery. Because the moment we become slave to the indulgences of the indriyas, then we will be away from our auspicious goal. So, we have to know that raga-dvesha will be there in the sense organs. Then how to get rid of the raga-dvesha? The clinging is not coming from the senses but from the mind. So we have to treat them. So he is showing very clearly that where the raga-dvesha are seated. Actually this shloka comes after he says that the kama, the desire is the main thing. But desire means raga-dvesha. It is not different. Desire means looking for something you like and hating something you dislike. That is raga-dvesha. So he says that to treat the raga-dvesha, first of all, you have to know where they are lying. He says, Indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhishtanam uchyate. Etair vimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam. He says that this raga-dvesha are seated in the senses, then in the mind, and then in the buddhi. These are the three areas they are seated. So our treatment has to be directed to all these three. The indriyas, the mind, and the senses. Treating them, we have to get rid of the raga-dvesha. Next one. See how sequentially he is bringing in. Tasmat, therefore, what do you do? Tasmat tvam indriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. He is repeatedly saying the last word I am not explaining. That is, it is that which is covering of the jnana, covering of the jnana. Why they are saying? Because when the raga-dveshas are removed, the knowledge we don't have to get from outside. Because we are the soul and the soul is the universal Brahman. So the knowledge is within us. As the ignorance is coming through the mind, the knowledge also will come from within. So they are saying that the knowledge is covered. That means our real identity, our universal identity, transcendental identity, the uniform universal soul, that we are not able to know because of the covering done by the desires, ego, raga-dvesha. That they are making us small. Actually, the moment they are removed, we will be knowing our real identity. That is why they are repeatedly saying, Jnana vijnana nashanam. In the other previous one, it was Jnanam avritya tishtati. Jnanam avritya dehinam. Always it is as if it is covering the jnana. Now these tasmatvam indriyanyadau niyamya bharatashava. Now to treat the mind and the intelligence, before that we have to some extent, discipline the sense organs. Otherwise, you will not be able to focus the mind or the intelligence. So first, discipline of the senses is extremely important and essential. Without that, we cannot proceed. So he says, Tasmatvam indriyani adau. First, you niyamya. Niyamya again means not outer control, but it is from an understanding you discipline them. Why are we rejecting the bad food? Because we understand that they will cause health problems. In the later age, we will be in trouble. If we more and more think of the trouble, by that thought we can become wise. Say, although if we know that smoking is bad, still we go on smoking because we have not meditated on the adverse effect of smoking. Suppose you spend mind hours on the adverse effects of smoking, then you will find automatically you will not like to smoke anymore. But because we are not spending that mind hours on that, that is why you will find in the Shastras, they go on doing the ninda of the worldly things. Why do they do? Actually, the world is also Brahman, world is equally God, that is what we are doing. Then why our scriptures are constantly blaming the worldly things, world, etc., all the family, everything they are constantly blaming? Because our mind is clinging to that. We will not be able to come out of it unless initially we spend mind hours on the adverse effects, on the negative side. So by thinking of the negative side, we become wiser. Our mind easily can reject the negative things. That is the reason. It is not to fill us with the negative thoughts. Similarly, the positive thoughts, we have to think positive, that will fill up. That is what we do in spiritual sadhana. Think of the soul, which is universal, unaffected by sukha dukkha. Everywhere it is present, it is not selfish, it is not affected by anything at all. Say, thinking of the soul, we become the soul, we become like the soul. So it is depending on how much of mind hours we are spending on it. With that, we will become successful. So, by that we have to first of all discipline the indriyas. This niyamya does not mean outer control. It is discipline coming from within, out of jnana, out of wisdom, out of rumination, out of constant spending of mind hours. Then he is giving a sequence that after disciplining the indriyas, then you can proceed along this sequence to finally attain the ultimate. What is that? Indriyani parani ahuhu. Indriyebhya param manah. Manasastu para buddhi. Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. He says, Indriyani parani ahuhu. People have said that it is said by the wise people that Indriyas are extremely powerful. Yes, they are powerful. They are always pulling us everywhere, wrong things and all. So Indriyas are powerful, that the wise people also have said. So they cannot be easily disciplined. But Indriyebhya param manaha. Superior to the Indriyas is the mind. Because without the support of the mind, the sense organs will not be able to do anything. So you can discipline the Indriyas by working on your mind, working on your thoughts. That is why I am saying by spending mind hours on the adverse things, the Indriyas will withdraw from that. And by spending mind hours on the good things, on the positive things, the Indriya will engage there. So the entire discipline of the Indriyas are brought out by the mind. We can easily do it. If it depends on how much we are intending to spend mind hours on this. Manasastu para buddhi. Even superior to mind, because the mind also mind may go here and there, mind may want to do wrong things, then the Indriyas will support and he will end up doing wrong things. Manasastu para buddhi. The mind can be controlled by the buddhi. That is, intelligence is still superior than the mind. So you have to apply your intelligence to make the mind understand. What are we trying to do here? Am I not approaching through the intelligence? that how the mind can be controlled, how the indriyas can be controlled. So you have to take the help of the intelligence to have a control over the mind. And how the intelligence also, the raga-dvesha and the desires are sitting in the intelligence. How will you manage the intelligence? Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. There is something still superior to the buddhi. That is the ultimate. Ultimate control has to be given to that, who is still superior to buddhi. That is, buddhi will take us near to that, and finally the buddhi also will dissolve. The source of the buddhi, that is the real thing. Yo buddhehe paratastu saha. Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. That unconquerable enemy called desire, it can be easily won by what? Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmanam atmana. Knowing that the superior to the buddhi, that is the soul, that is the ultimate, knowing that, you can completely discipline all the faculties of the personality and get rid of the kama or raga-dvesha. The whole sequence is given. I will show you with some pictures also. This I had shown yesterday, the goal of aim of spiritual sadhana. Then next one, the two kinds of sadhana, yoga, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishadic. Then third. Here we are trying to show how to win over the transcend the raga-dvesha. Start from the right, that our physical body with 5 senses, it is constantly interacting with the world. And what is important is attraction and repulsion towards world objects and situations. Is it not so? Something we like, something we dislike. Whatever is neutral, that does not affect our mind. We are not concerned about that. Our mind is always getting agitated by the attraction towards what we like and the repulsion towards what we dislike. So it is not the worldly things that anything is wrong with the world. Even a knower, the world remains the same. It is our raga-dvesha towards the world objects which makes our mind disturbed. For a knower, this raga-dvesha element is cleansed. It is removed. So he interacts with the world, with the same world, but never gets affected or agitated by it. So this raga-dvesha is the main thing we have to control. Now here, the physical body with the 5 senses, we are interacting with the world. The grey portion, blue portion, black portion, they are for our usual ways. That is the lower way of functioning. And the golden part is for the knowledge, the enlightened functioning. So normally, our physical body along with the 5 senses, they are under the slavery of world situation and world object. Is there any doubt about it? No. Physical body with the senses, they are slave to the worldly things. Is it not so? As I said just now, that anything going wrong, anybody saying something abusive, we immediately flare up. We lose self-centeredness. Any suffering situation, immediately we lose our self-centeredness. Now, following that, the mind also joins with the senses and the body, and mind also starts suffering or getting agitated, everything. And following the mind, the buddhi, which when it is connected to the worldly things, we call it vishaya buddhi, the lower buddhi, which is always thinking of the world. Always we are employing that buddhi. How to go there, how to get more money, how to get a property, etc. These are all vishaya buddhi. So it is following the mind. It is under the clutch of the mind. Whatever the mind says, buddhi thinks about it, analyzes, and makes out some way of fulfilling the mind's desires. Is it not so? So here, if you look at the lower portion, the grey colored, the whole control is on the world. The world is controlling the physical body with the 5 senses. The physical body and the 5 senses controlling the mind, and the mind is controlling the intelligence. So the control is on outside, and we are under slavery. Is it understood? The whole thing has to be reversed. Here what is happening? That real identity, our universal identity, that is the yo buddhehe paratastu saha, which is superior to the buddhi. When the buddhi gets connected to our real identity, that is our inmost soul, when the buddhi listens to the inner voice, which is always the right voice, because we are the soul in reality, that inner voice is there for everybody. Whenever we are doing something wrong, from within that inner voice is telling it is wrong, it is wrong. That is why we feel weak. That whenever we are doing anything wrong, there is a weakness coming in the mind. We feel fearful, we feel weak. Because the inner voice is always, we are the universal soul in reality, so that voice is always there. Because of the greed and because of the fear about so many desires being fulfilled, not being fulfilled, we don't heed that voice. We don't listen to that voice. That is the main problem. Now, this real identity is the yo buddhehe paratastu saha, that ultimate. When the buddhi is connected to that, then we call it viveka buddhi. That intelligence is called viveka. Viveka you must have heard of. Viveka in the Shastras, viveka vairagya, that is called the viveka buddhi. Now here the viveka buddhi will control the mind. And the mind will control the physical body with the senses. So that is the niyamya they are saying. The niyamya, that discipline, it is the internal discipline where the whole control is on the soul, the inner soul. And up to the indriyas, everything is controlled by them. So you can interact freely with the world without getting agitated, without getting affected by the world. The next one also we can show. This is just showing that whatever we read in the shlokas, the blue area you see, treat the seeds of desire, that is the senses, mind and intelligence. They said, Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishthana uchyate. That the desire, the raga-dvesha, they are sitting on the senses, mind and intelligence. Now we have to work on these. How do we work? Bhagavad Gita mainly has given 4 methods. They are all same. We can apply all of them together. And here we did not have time to study all of them. But it is there in the CDs and all. These are the 4 broad categories of sadhana Bhagavad Gita has mentioned. The first is the samatva attitude. The shloka number also I have given just for those who are interested. It's there. Samatva attitude, that is in 2nd chapter, 48th verse, we have already gone through. Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So always in interactions we have to apply that samatva buddhi to treat the senses, mind and intelligence, to make them free of the raga-dvesha they are suffering from. That is, whenever there is clinging, whenever there is hatred, that samatva buddhi should work to remove the hatred, remove the clinging. Then the next, in 3rd chapter and 4th chapter, yajna vision is there. Yajna in Bhagavad Gita, again it is a contribution of Bhagavad Gita, where the yajna, which is actually a ritual, yajna means offering to the fire. It is a ritualistic practice. That Bhagavad Gita has elevated to an universal dimension. He said that is only a ritual which we perform giving to the fire. But in fact, the whole universe is a yajna of the Lord. Whatever actions are happening here, everything is a yajna. So whatever we do, the selfish acts, always there is a selfish motive, which is finally for gaining some happiness. That has to be made as a sacrifice. That means removing the egoistic part, removing the desire part. Whatever we are doing in life, offer to the Lord as an offering in His yajna, in His universal yajna. See, as the whole universe is moving, the plants are growing, the flowers are blossoming, everything, they don't have any selfish motive behind that. It is only a natural fruition, natural blossoming that is taking place. Like that, if we are free of the desires, whatever our personality contains, whatever qualities we have, as an offering to the Lord, that will also be blossoming like a flower. So this is the other method suggested by Bhagavad Gita. Then in 14th chapter, they have suggested the third method, that is transcending the gunas. That means first winning over the tamasika bondage by cultivating rajasika and sattvika qualities, then winning over the rajasika bondages by cultivating sattva guna and sattvika qualities. Then finally winning over the sattva guna also by cultivating nirapekshata. Nirapekshata means not expecting anything from anywhere, anytime. That is completely accepting everything as given by the providence. And whatever happens, you take it, you go ahead with it. That does not mean that you will not do to set right the situation. You can do, but it is the unaffectedness with which you will do. Normally we get unaffected. We have lost something, we have lost property, we have lost our job also, standing on the street. We start crying, even going to commit suicide. Why? Because it has already happened. By crying, wailing, or committing suicide, can we set right the situation? But we go on doing that. Suppose we accept the situation, whatever has happened, then immediately the mind will become stress-free, free of all the stress. The stress in the mind is caused by the non-acceptance of the situation. You think about it. Whatever stress we have, it is because of some non-acceptance. Suppose your mind is stressed by anticipating, anxious of something, and you are getting stressed. It is because you are not ready to accept which you are thinking. Suppose you may fail in the exam. You are getting tense about it. Now that failing, suppose you have failed, you fail. You should be ready to accept. Yes, I have failed. My father has sent him out of the house. I am moving around in the road. Yes, I have accepted it. If you accept, then immediately the mind will become free of all stress. It's a great button. You just press the acceptance button, you will be free immediately. And then you can solve whatever you want to solve. The problem you can solve after that. But being affected by it, being stressed by it, we are not able to solve the situation also. So that is the great way of transcending the gunas, the gunatita level. And then finally in the 18th chapter, he speaks of surrender. That is the ultimate and the last and the most powerful but most difficult method. That finally he says that, Krishna says, I have given you everything, I have told you everything. Now, analyzing everything very well, you do whatever you like. That means still the decision is left on Arjuna's intelligence. Whatever I have given you, you analyze well and do according to your will. That is the last message he has given. Then again he is saying, but I cannot leave you at this because Arjuna, you are my most favorite. You are like my duplicate. So I have to give you the sarva guhyatamam. What is that? He comes down as the Lord himself, as the Guru. He says, manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Now even if Krishna is not there, it does not matter. It is the condition of the mind that matters. Whenever we take that position of acceptance, then we are the most powerful. We can do anything we like, whatever to be done. So these are the four methods. Broadly speaking, there are others also can be found out perhaps. They will work on the mind. As they work on the mind, the raga-dvesha gets sublimated. And more it gets sublimated. We feel the prasada. Prasada means the placidity of the mind grows. When the placidity of the mind grows, that itself will carry you through. You will start working on it more and more because this placidity will like. So finally this prasada will lead you to self-experience. That is, when the mind is placid, automatically dhyana will come, grip you. Dhyana we don't have to do. When the mind becomes placid, if you sit, automatically the mind will go and get absorbed within, which finally results in self-experience. This self-experience is such devastating, such transforming, that it changes our whole mindset. And we want to have it again and again, live in it. Then nobody has to tell us about the path. We can proceed on it further and further. But even then, in the interactive life, as we are working with the world, there will be difficulties. Always we will not be able to keep to that self, that our real identity. There will be mistakes, there will be slippages, everything will be there. But that awareness will be there, that there is something where I have to finally go. And that will repeatedly bring the self-experience to you, if necessary, multiple times, many times also. By that, the whole process of integration and purification takes place like this. Then finally, from there, as it gets maturated, the life gets divinized. And that is called the realization, self-realization, or the universal identity. That is how we finally move towards that. So it goes on like this. It is slowly increasing in its depth, and the prasada goes on increasing. Finally, it takes you to the divinized life. So this is okay. I had shown that this is our main spiritual sadhana. One is interactional, another is non-interactional. Non-interactional means meditation, contemplation, etc. That goes with the self-experience. And here the interactional means all these four just now I have discussed. It is another way of showing the same thing what I have discussed. But here only one thing is new, that the meditative sadhana helps to apply this awareness throughout the interactional period. And as we apply this throughout the interactional period, meditation also becomes easy, because the mind starts getting peaceful, becoming peaceful and placid. The two together, regenerating each other, finally takes us to the self-knowledge, where we become emotionally fulfilled, intelligentially fulfilled, and that is called the great or grand integration of the personality. So finally, we must understand the main thing here is, we have nothing to do with the world. We have to work only with our mind, intelligence and emotion. In Yoga Vasishta, there is a shloka, Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi upanad gudhapadasya nanu charma stritaiva bhuhu. Suppose you want to walk on the earth without coming in contact with the dust. What will you do? Are you going to cover the whole earth with leather? Or you will put on shoes? If you put on shoes, if you cover your feet with the leather, then you can walk over anywhere. The feet will not come in contact with the dust. Like that, when the mind becomes full, by removing the raga-dvesha, the fragmentation, everything, by discovering our real universal identity, when the mind becomes purna, full, then whole world becomes like flowing nectar. Whole world becomes nectarine. The world remains what it is, not that the nectar flows in the world. But your mind becoming freed of raga-dvesha, you find the whole world, whether it is suffering or a happy situation, whether it is enemy or friend, you find the whole world to be nectarine. Just like putting on a shoes and walking on the earth. This is from Yoga Vasishta. Upanad gudha-padasya nanu charma astrita iva bhuhu. For a person who has covered his feet, for him the whole earth gets covered with leather. Like that, when the mind becomes full, then for him the whole world becomes nectarine. That is the divinization of life, and through that divinization of the world also, although the world doesn't change. There is one more here. Na pratyak brahmanor bhedam kadapi brahmasargayoho prajnaya yo vijanati sa jivan mukta ishyate. This is from Adhyatma Upanishad, a rare Upanishad. This is just to remind us, if you can take it by heart, it is given to you. It will remind you. What it is saying is that na pratyak brahmanor bhedam. That is, going within we discover ourself. Know that self is not different from the Brahman, which is the source of the entire universe, which is the substratum of the entire universe. So there is no difference between the self, Atma, and Brahman. That is the fundamental statement of Upanishads. That we go from the Dehatma Bodha, we consider our body to be the I, that is called Dehatma Bodha. From there, the ultimate position is Brahmatma Ekatva Bodha. Brahma, Atma, Ekatva Bodha. That Brahman and Atma are not different. The Atma itself is Brahman. So, na pratyak brahmanor vedam. Never differentiate between, bheda means differentiate between the Pratyagatma, our Atma, and the Brahman, the universal cosmic Atma, cosmic self. Kadabi Brahma Sargayoho, and never differentiate between the Brahman and the Srishti, the world. This is what is punishing us right from the beginning, that I don't get time to do spiritual practice. This is coming because we are differentiating the worldly activities from the Brahman. The world is different from the Brahman. If we institute Brahman in entire world, in everything, by removing the raga-dvesha, then all our moments, every moment will become spiritual. We don't have to keep separately anything. This separation must go, is this verse saying. Prajnaya yo vijanati. It will not happen by your senses, that you will not see everything same, or you will not hear everything same. Cacophony will remain cacophony. The music will remain music. It will not become same. Prajnaya, by the prajna you will find that everything is shining on the same consciousness. Whether you write an elephant, write a dog, or write God, everything is written with consciousness, on consciousness. There is nothing other than consciousness at all. So prajnaya yo vijanati sa jivan mukta ishyate. He is called jivan mukta. A jivan mukta will know that there is no difference between the creation, Brahman, the source of creation, and the Atma, which we always refer to as I. This is the grand integration Vedanta speaks of, Bhagavad Gita speaks of, all the Upanishads, all our Shastras speak of. We will chant this Purne Manasi Sampurnam as the end verse. A little louder. Purne Manasi Sampurnam.
Purne Manasi Sampurnam.
Jagat Sarvam Sudhadravaihi.
Jagat Sarvam Sudhadravaihi.
Upanat Gudhapadasya.
Upanat Gudhapadasya.
Nanu charmastritaiva bhuhu.
Nanu charmastritaiva bhuhu.
Now together. Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi upanat gudhapadasya nanu charmastritaiva bhuhu. Prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nityabodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranomi. Prabuddham vimuktam vikaradihinam prasannam sada nityabodhasvarupam param nishchalam nirgunam sarvarupam bhajeham sadanusmarami pranomi. Hari. That's it.